And thank you for doing this, and thank you for coming to MONATions.
I hope it's going to happen.
Working towards it. And, I mean, we had a trip to Vegas, 5,000 people, expecting 14,000 in Atlanta in September. We're moving towards. I mean, our business moved a lot around social media and Instagram and Facebook. We have Facebook groups with 100,000 people. So I mean, our people is very engaged in the digital world. So I think we can pull something off. We just did something called Power Week, in which we did an event every day, and the engagement was great. So
good.
I think we can plan something like that.
Well, hey man, I do a lot of events. Overwhelming activity on social media from your company, so it's wonderful.
Great. So listen, I wanted to see if we could have a conversation maybe, I mean, since you're coming to MONATions, I mean, we have a great lineup coming for our training day, and you are the star of it. A lot of excitement around it. I mean, you're hot in social media, and I was reading that says that you are the fastest growing business personality in social media history. And that's amazing.
Yeah, it sounds good. I don't know if it's true, but I hear that. I'll take it.
Yeah, and your interviews are awesome. I mean, my wife is a fan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great content. I love that you're mission driven, so we are too. And I love that you have actually do. Like, you're a speaker, but you have your own success. And I always like to hear from people who's been successful themselves.
Thank you. To me, that is a big difference, brother, is that if I were to follow someone on social media or want them to come into my organization as a speaker, I need to see some evidence that they know what they're talking about beyond just social media. So I completely agree with you on that. And that's why I have such admiration for the whole organization, because I see all these people, all these women having such success and loving it. Like, they love it. Like, they don't like it, they love it. And it's made an impact on me, honestly. Like, you guys have made me evaluate, truthfully, what I'm doing in some of my own companies. I have 23 businesses, but it's made me evaluate, like, am I building a culture as strong as yours with the enthusiasm level and the engagement level that you all have? It's second to none. I'm telling you, I do a lot of speaking engagement. It's second to none what you all are building together. It's awesome.
Well, it means a lot coming from you. I know you have a lot of perspective, and you see a lot of things going around, a lot of different companies. And the fact that you say that about MONAT, it means a lot.
It's true. MONAT is unbelievable. This organization is unbelievable. And let me tell you the other thing that you have, if I can say, there's a goodness about the people involved. There's a spirit about it. And I think great companies, great movements have an energy that you can just feel. It just vibrates at a certain kind of frequency. And there's a goodness. It's got a spirit about it that when it sits on you, you're like, I feel at home here. You know, like, I'm really looking forward to this event. Like, I really am. And it's because I'm going to get to be with all these amazing souls. It's one of those things on your calendar. You know, when you're a busy person, all of us, there's things in our calendar we go, okay, I have to do this today. I have to do that. And then rarely there's things where you go, I get to do this. And this event I get to do. And so I'm really, really honored to do it.
Absolutely. And you know, I'm so glad you say that, and that when you look at MONAT from the outside and you look at what's happening here, you see, the first thing you see is not just an amazing product. I mean, we have award-winning products, so an amazing opportunity, but you see the culture. We live and die by our culture. And actually today we have a call with our top directors. It's called, our top ranks are called directors. And we had a call with them, and we had such an amazing, this year has been just great for MONAT. In last month, we had an amazing growth. I mean, we had over 70 new directors, almost 100 directors actually, which is a lot. I mean, it's a lot of leadership happening in MONAT. And one thing we're talking to them is, like, as we grow, we want to protect this culture that we've had since we founded the company. When we founded the company, we said, nothing's going to come above our values, nothing's going to come above our integrity. We know, like, there's a practice in the MLM industry in which they start buying leaders, and we never want to do that, knowing our more difficult times. We want teams to support each other. We want cross lines support, and this is something that when people come to MONAT, and I ask them, like, why do you stay? Why are you here? And they always talk about there is something different about this company. We love the culture, and I always say something. culture conquers all. Like there will be ups and downs, but culture will conquer everything. So I'm so glad you say that.
I agree. And I'll tell you, I get a sense, I've been in the recruiting and building industry for a long time. My main business was that. And you know this too, because you've been around. I can tell when I'm around something that's built to last a long time, or that's sort of built to do something real big, real quick, and then not do much. We've all seen that before. And you have this environment that's built to last, that if someone plants their flag and invests time, one of the things that breaks my heart in the industry is people will plant their flag and make all these sacrifices, and they were in for the long haul, but the people behind the scenes really weren't the whole time. And the entire organization doesn't support the level of commitment of the people within it. And what I love that I've seen so far, and I just know it's a fact, is that you guys are built to be here for the long haul. That's wonderful, so that people's commitments pay off long term, not just short term. And that's a big part of your culture.
That's one thing we say all the time. We are building a long-term sustainable business. And that's why we always say, let's do things right. Let's protect the culture, because we'll have ups and downs, but if we really protect the culture, we do it right, we're building a business for generations to come.
I love it.
Glad to say that. But one thing that I wanted to ask you and pick your brain on.
Sure.
That as you say, for us, everything's about our mission, right? So we always say, if you want to be successful, make sure you're making others successful first. Don't look for your success first, because it's not going to happen. It doesn't work like that. You look for others to be successful, and your success will come later. And we have practiced that ourselves in the company. And we really want to drive this mission, but there is something going on with this crisis, worldwide crisis that we're having, which there is some people saying, I kind of feel bad promoting the business. I feel guilty. Should I feel guilty about doing this business now? And I know you post something about that and about how this is a great time to actually build yourself and build your movement.
Oh my gosh. You have a responsibility. Not only should you have an obligation. Knowing what you know about this amazing opportunity and knowing the difference it's made in your own life, and then to know that so many people are hurting right now, emotionally, financially. And I'm gonna tell you, the one thing everybody in our culture is doing right now, if they have a job, they're going, never again will I be reliant on my employer for the rest of my life. Never again. I've got to find a work from home business. I've got to find a second income. And then you've got this opportunity. And then the other thing is, they feel alone. People feel more alone right now, locked up in their home. They've maybe lost their job. They can't see their friends and loved ones. And even before this, they felt alone. And to be able to give them a place to belong, where people love them, support them, believe in them. My goodness, the reverse is true. You have an obligation. You have a responsibility. People are hurting. And a lot of the reasons they're hurting so deeply right now is they hadn't found this. They hadn't found a leader. They hadn't found someone who believed in them. One of the most important things that's ever happened to me in my life is that when I got recruited into my business, forget the business for a minute. I found somebody who believed in me, who looked at me and said, I love you. I believe in you. I'm going to help you. That's priceless in someone's life. In even normal times, that's priceless. Never mind in these times, say, hey, I believe in you. I'm going to help you. I'm going to stick with you long term. Great things are going to happen in your life, and you can have hope again. My gosh, like this, if ever there's been a time dialed up perfectly for the mission of what y'all are doing, it's right now. And I also believe in the law of reciprocity of what you said. I've lived my whole life on this. People always say to me, why do you produce so much free content? Hundreds of hours of free stuff that most people charge for. And I'd like to think that my free stuff is more valuable than stuff most people even charge for. Because I just believe if you put enough good out there into the world, that when you do ask for something, people are like, yeah, there's a reciprocal benefit. And that's what leadership is. Leadership is feeding everybody else first. You'll get fed. And that's how I've always tried to build all of my businesses. And the people that I admire long-term in my life, they've always put me first. And so if you want to be someone admired long-term and lead people, you always have to put other people first. I love that you know that. I love that you talk about that. That's not normal, you guys. That's something special. For the leader of a company to have that part of their culture, you don't get that in another organization. It's cut their throat. It's go for it. Let's make money. It's always about those basic things that aren't sustainable. that don't touch people's hearts. And great companies, great leaders, they move away from always trying to talk to people's heads about the math and the plan and the cash flow and even the technical things about how the products work, which are all important. The greatest people hit people in their heart. I really believe that winning in business is 80% heart and 20% head. And the great companies get that, the great leaders get that. So totally agree with you.
Absolutely, yeah. I heard from somebody that people only will remember how you make them feel. They won't remember facts or special training. How do you make them feel? So yeah, actually, like, there is a special connection, but you have to live it. You have to be authentic.
It has to be real. It can't be a strategy, right? And the other thing is, you can't be one way in your business life and another way with your kids or your family, or one way with your friends socially, another way in business. It's got to be just who you are, right? People always ask me, well, how do you hold everything together? It's all one thing. It's my life. So if I'm a positive, optimistic person here, when I have dinner with my kids, I'm positive and optimistic. Doesn't mean we don't have negative moments. Doesn't mean I don't screw up. I'm a sinner saved by God's grace. Like, I screw up all the time, right? But I try to be the same person in every area of my life. If you met me golfing, just today, but I'm having my home painted, and the woman who came over to organize it said, "Oh my gosh, I'm a big fan of yours. My daughters have all been at events here." And then she shows me pictures of her daughters and me. And I actually remembered one of her daughters, one of the pictures we took at an event I spoke at. And when she left, she said, "Can I just say one thing to you?" I said, "Yes." She goes, "I've been in your home now, and I've seen you with your wife and your children." And she goes, "I just want you to know, I'm just so glad that you're who I thought you were in your home." And I thought, well, you could not give me a better compliment than that who you see on camera or whatever is at least pretty close to the dude that I am in real life in every area. So
I so agree with you. That what you said. Who is that? Who are you when you get to your house and shut the door? You have to be the same person. It doesn't work if you're a different person inside your house or public facing or Instagram. It doesn't work like that. And actually, I was funny because my trainer, so I'm a fitness fan like you are, and my trainer always say, like, because I'm very consistent and disciplined, I always try to be better and better. I don't earn anything for that. That's just me. And he says, the thing is that most people, if you are competitive, you're going to be competitive in every aspect of your life. If you are disciplined, you're going to be disciplined. It doesn't work like, oh, I'm going to be disciplined for this and undisciplined for that. Most probably, you're going to be the same person for most aspects of your life.
Eventually, you are. It's funny, there's a great documentary on ESPN right now about Michael Jordan. I was just talking about this in my previous call. And they're talking about how crazy competitive he was when he was playing cards. And I don't know if you saw it, but he's in the locker room flipping coins up against the wall, competing on who can get the coin closer. He's a competitor, right? And so you're exactly right. If you're a competitor on the basketball court, you're probably a competitor off of. If you're a good person in business, you're probably a good person with your family. If you lift people up in your business, you probably lift up your children or friends as well. So you're 100% right.
And that's how you become authentic, right? And you actually reflect, and people start believing you because you're just authentic.
You're congruent.
Yeah.
Congruency is one of the most powerful traits in the world. And by the way, what's great about being congruent is you're allowed to have flaws and faults, which I have. I don't hide them, right? I have way too many faults and flaws to serve me every day. But I think one of the reasons that I share them is then people don't think I'm Superman. That, oh, wow, he is pretty screwed up in a lot of ways too. And he still managed to be successful and happy, right? And so my flaws are what make me relatable, which makes me connect with people. More importantly, makes people root for you. It's okay to be vulnerable with your people. It's okay to be vulnerable and say, hey guys, I'm scared too. I'm not really sure either, but here's what I think. You'd be surprised how long it goes to be vulnerable with people.
Absolutely agree. The other thing that I like a lot about your message and your organization, you have something called maximum performance. And I think most challenges people cannot overcome is because there is a lack sometimes of mental strength. Is that what I like to call? Like, you have that mindset, strength to go even in these times. Like, depending on how you're handling these difficult times, in which I understand a lot of people have anxiety, and I respect that. We are not all the same. I have my own anxiety the first week that this pandemic started. I had to close the office. What should I do? Should I keep open the distribution center? How can I could I keep my workers safe, essential workers? How could I keep the business going? What was going to happen? I had my anxiety for a couple of days, and then I said, okay, let's stay positive. Let's keep going, and knowing that we are a light for many, and that let's be a light for this economy and for this society. But I have my anxiety myself. But you have to have the mental strength, and I know you talk a lot about that. What would be an advice to focus on that maximum performance concept that you have?
Yeah, I'll tell you where it's come from. A lot of different places. I talk about maxing out. I'm going to talk about a little bit of this at the event, so I'm going to hold a little bit of it back. But I'll give you an interesting thing that happened. About 3 years ago, I'm still a pretty big guy, but about 3 years ago, I was a really big guy. Maybe 20 pounds of muscle bigger. And I'm at the gym, and there was a guy in there who followed me on, I think it was Instagram, and he had these huge traps, these big, huge traps. And I was big, but his traps were just bananas, right? And so he's doing shrugs. And it was so funny. I felt like such a fool, but he goes, hey bro, could we train together? I'd love to train with Ed Mylett. I'm like, yeah, man. So we start the first set of shrugs, and remember, he's got these huge traps. And I said to him, I said, so brother, how many are we doing? How many do you do, right? And normal person in the gym, what do? You go, I'm gonna do 5 sets of 10, or I'm gonna do 12, 10, 8, 6. We all know that at the gym, right? He's a kid, he's like 23. And he looks at me and he goes, as many as I can. And I went, oh, I'm Mr. Max out already, right? And he goes, so like, why would you say 10? And then when you get there, you know you could do 3 more, so you just stop because you said 10? And think about that at the gym. Don't we all do that? We go, okay, I'm gonna do 12. You get to 12, you could do 5 more, but you just stop because you said 12.
Happens all the time. The guy, my trainer tells me 12, I get to 11.
Right.
15, I'll get to 14, right?
Right, always one more. I'm gonna talk about this at the event, and it just dawned on me. I went, my gosh, I don't do this at any there. What am I doing this at the gym? I don't know. And so in life, most of us set these artificial limits on ourselves. You say, I'm gonna do 10 phone calls a day, or I'm gonna make 3 Instagram posts, or I'm gonna recruit 2 people. And you recruit the 2 and you stop, and you could have recruited 6. And so we get in life our standards. We don't even always get how talented we are. We get our standard. If your standard is maximum, if your standard is maxing out, long term, you'll ultimately get your standard. Maybe not in a week, maybe not in a month, sometimes not even in a year. But I'm an old man. So I can tell you, in life, you eventually get your standard. I'm a product of someone who's just set really max out, max high standards in my life. And eventually you get your standards. So you could not make a better point than that. And that's one of the things I'm going to talk about at the event for sure.
What do you think people conform so easily? Like, because I agree with you. You set your standard here, you get here. You set your standard here. Best case scenario, you get here. I always say, like, shoot for the stars, right? What's the worst that could happen?
They conform, brother, because it's their identity. It's their identity. So you only get, the most powerful force really on earth is to be consistent with the identity you hold for yourself. So if you believe you're only worth a certain amount of wealth, a certain amount of happiness, a certain amount of bliss in a relationship, a certain type of body, when you begin to exceed it, that you will find a way to cool life right back down to what you believe you deserve, what you believe you're worth. And until you really do the work on what you believe you're worth, the standard without believing you're worth the result is powerless. But if you can get to your life, and the point in your life where you set super high standards, and you believe you deserve to get them, and you do that work, which is what I'm going to teach at the event, now you're almost unstoppable. But I see people all the time that have really high standards. Think about this. How many people have you known in your life that go, I'm going to lose 15 pounds? And they lose it and they look great. They set that standard of 15 pounds and you see them in a year and you go, wow, they put 16 back on. They got back to what they were comfortable with. Or someone who they're in an unbelievable relationship, but inside they don't believe they're worthy of this love they're getting. And you see him in 6 months, you go, where is he? And we broke up, or we're taking a break from each other. You're like, there's no way, you were so in love. What? It's because you cooled life back down to what you believe you deserve. It's the team's growing. You got this standard. We're going to hit 25 recruits this month. We're going to do it. And you hit 25 recruits. And the next month you hit 6 because it was an artificial standard, not consistent with your identity. So when you do the work of elevating your standard and you do the work on getting your standard, which is what I teach, then you become someone people don't want to mess with because it's going to be awesome.
I love that, and I love that, especially with the example that you make. I see so many people, they start a business, they blow out of the water, they're doing great, and then suddenly they go stagnant.
Yes.
Why? I mean, you know more now than you knew when you started. Like your knowledge, your strength. Like, why are you going backwards? Or why are you going stagnant? And sometimes I wonder, are you just happy with what you have and you believe that that's it?
That's what happens. And by the way, that's the most common example is in our businesses, isn't it? They get it blowing up and then they cool it. They get it blowing up and they cool it. They're all of a sudden they're making more money, so they got more proof it works. They've got a bigger team, so they know it works. They know the words better. They know the presentation. They know the products, and they believe in it more. And they start recruiting fewer people. How's that possible? It's only possible that you're trying to unconsciously cool your business back down to what you think you deserve. And that's what happens.
Absolutely. Well, I know we have to move on. I know you're super busy. Thank you for taking this call. One more thing. We kind of talk about this, but I really wanted to close with this.
Okay.
When we bring speakers or we bring people to talk to our market partners, we always make sure that they fit our culture. We're talking about culture at the beginning. And one thing that I love about you is that you have a purpose. You're purpose driven, and you talk about that too. We are too.
Thank you. There you go.
About the importance of that. And what would you advise to the MONAT community about being purpose-driven?
Well, for me, that's what sustains me long-term. So there's a lot of mornings in my life. People say, are you always motivated? No. There's all kinds of mornings I wake up that I don't have the drive. And I'll give you the one example in my life where mission matters. You'll never probably forget this story, especially all the ladies. So when I was very young, my son was 2 and my daughter was just born. And I had a mild heart attack. And it could have been severe. And I went to this doctor, and what happens is you do a scan and then you come back and they evaluate the scan. Well, what's a normal doctor do? A normal doctor goes, we read your scan, you've got 30% blockage in your arteries, take this medication, goodbye. And then most people never change. My doctor got putting me on purpose, giving me a purpose, right? Purpose is what moves you long-term in your life. And so what he did is we go back to the office and he's looking at the chart and he looks up at me a couple times. He's playing me, but I didn't know it at the time. And he goes, wow, I can't believe these arteries are in that young of a body. What did it do? It grabbed me. I went, what? Right? And he goes, let me ask you a question. Are you married? And he knew I was. I said, yes, sir. I met her when I was in kindergarten. He goes, oh, that's a great story. Do you have a son? I said, yeah. He goes, that's awesome. He goes, let me ask you a question. You want to be there when he graduates high school? I went, what did you say? He goes, do you want to be there when he graduates high school? I go, yeah. Huh? And he goes, let me ask you this. Do you have a daughter? I said, yes, doctor, I have a daughter. And he goes, do you want to walk her down the aisle on her wedding day? Now, let me tell you, you hit the daughter button on wedding day with the daddy, they remember. I went, yes, what the f is in that scan, man, right? And he goes, I want you to listen to me very clearly, young man. If you keep going down the road you're going, some other man's going to be with your wife in your mansion. That same dude is going to have a breakfast every morning with your kids. That same guy, he'll be there when your son walks across the stage. But for some reason, when he said this to me, and he goes, that'll be the guy that walks your baby girl down the aisle on her wedding day. I'm going to tell you right now when I say that to you, I go, whew, right? Let me tell you what gets me in the gym every morning. There's a lot of mornings I wake up, I don't have the motivation to go to the gym. You know what gets me in the gym? I'm not kidding you. And that, by the way, that was 20 years ago. Bella's wedding. Bella's wedding. Bella's wedding. And I get my ass up and I'm in that gym. When I'm on the road and I didn't get back till 2 a.m., and I got a 6 a.m. meeting and I'm like, it's 4. I've been asleep 2 hours. Bella's wedding. The reason I'm pretty fit at 50 years old, well, 49, the reason I'm pretty fit is Bella's wedding. I've got a purpose. I've got a mission that is way bigger than how tired I am. Way bigger than the obstacles. Way bigger than anything you could put in front of me is my little girl's wedding. So to the extent that you get a purpose that big for your business will be to the extent that you'll go through anything to achieve it. So that is the ultimate example in my life is my little girl, who's now 16, by the way, her wedding someday, which I hope is 35 years from now, having said that. But I want to be there when I walk her down the aisle on her wedding day, and that's what's got me in the gym, and that's what's going to get you to recruit people is your big purpose.
Yeah, you have to have a why, right? Without a why, you don't know where you're going, and because you're gonna have hurdles and you're gonna have difficulties, and people think, I was telling them about being vulnerable and honest. People think that because you're a leader and you have a company, you're super successful, that we don't get anxious or we don't have flaws or we're motivated all the time. Not at all. Sometimes I just feel like, for me, obviously I started this company and I want to build wealth and I want to be prosperous and I want to do it for my family, and we're a family business. But now that the business has become so big, it has become bigger than myself and bigger than my family.
Yeah.
I'm driven by the responsibility that we have with so many people. And when I'm down, it's like, I don't have the right to be down, because a lot of people is depending on us, and I see so much motivation out there and people committed and loving the company that it's like, that's it. I cannot be down today. I cannot be lower. You have to get it somewhere. But hey, thank you very much.
It's obvious to me why you're winning, brother. I can see it. I can't wait to be with everybody.
Thank you for doing this, and I know our market partner community is going to love this video from us. So thank you.
I'm here to help everybody. God bless you all. See ya.